what's up? Ooh. What's up? Okay, we're just waiting for some more people to join us. Let's see how we're doing over here. Okay. By the way, it would be great if on the chat, we'd love to know where you're visiting us from. And also, just your name. What time is it over there? How's the weather? What do you do? What do you love? All that stuff. From San Diego, Nelson. Great to see you. Waldo's here too. People from Webflow. I'm kind of nervous. Okay, switch here. Okay. I'm a little bit nervous because the people from Webflow are here, but at the same time, because I'm such a noob, I'm still learning Webflow, but I think it's actually good because they can correct me when I'm wrong, and they can also help you understand some of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about. So 70 degrees over here. London, 2 a.m. Always gray, Matt. Hello from Sacramento, San Luis. Damn, people from all over the place. This is so cool. Let's wait. What do you say we wait a couple of minutes more before more people, give a little bit of time for people to come in. But I can tell you, I can share something that I've been let me show you, like, it's kind of like news, and it's actually kind of related also to what we're going to be doing today. So let me just share this with you. Okay, cool. So I'm sharing my screen here. And so today, what we're going to be learning, it's kind of inspired by, where does the inspiration come from first? I think it was first from Webflow, the feature for CMS. That inspired me to do something with this feature. And what I did is this thing called, it's a list of designers called Latinos Who Design, Latinx Who Design. And it's using real data that people input, and just like different Latinx that share what they do, where they're from, and just a directory, a list. And this is for people if you want to find a mentor, people to follow, if you want to add a little bit of diversity to your team, for hiring managers, like to also include Latinos and Latinas in their hiring process. And yeah, so you can filter. By the way, a lot of the stuff here, actually, Waldo, Anna from Webflow, they helped me doing this filter stuff, which is super dope. Look at that. So we're going to be learning some of the stuff that I learned doing this. And let's see how many we are here. We're 26. We should start. I think we're good. Let's do some stretching. Let's do a little bit of meditation. Before you start, you gotta keep calm. You just got a peace of mind. And they say that I used to do this when I was in primary school and in middle school, I guess, back in Mexico. I used to be in the theater group, and yes, of course, I used to be an actor. And before every show, the professor, the director, he would get us, everyone in the group, get us to, hold on, let me change my view here. There you go. He will get us to just like everyone together, grab our hands, close our eyes, and deep breaths, all of us together. And I still do that. Before I do every video, before I go on a talk, before I do a design review presentation, I still do that to this day. And I highly recommend it. It's just like gives you a little bit of, I don't know, it calms you down. And so let's all this do together. Let's all grab our hands, our digital hands, everyone here on the chat. And okay, one more time. We're ready. Okay, cool. Okay, that was wait time. Before we get started, let's actually go and start looking at this. So today, okay, just a little bit more stretching. Today we're going to be learning how to use CMS on Webflow, and we're going to learn by creating CMS like profile cards, like UI profile cards, like people with their data, with their name, with their information, the bio, linked to their site, and we're going to be using real data, grabbing that data and then inputting on our design, and we're going to be seeing the changes that we do in real time being affected in the design with real data. Super cool. I think you're gonna love it. So for this, we're going to create a collection. Then we're going to start adding fields, the fields that we're going to need for our collection, just like name, categories, an image, a link, a bio, all of that stuff. And then also we're going to learn how to import a CSV file so we can fill those fields. And then also how to input information manually, like going in there and manually editing the information and also inputting new items, new collection items. And then from there, once we have our data, we're good, we're feeling good about it, then we're gonna start designing this thing. And we're gonna start putting the information, just test it, just like put a collection and then start putting information and just like see the magic happen. And then after that, we're gonna actually start designing with it. Now we're going to be, okay, now let's actually design it and make it look good. And then probably there, if we have the time, we can get into details about like adding some hover transitions, just some those delightful animations. And also probably we can do a little bit of styling, and one of those things could be changing the font using a Google font. I like using IBM Plex. It's an open source font that you can find on Google, and it's pretty cool. It's a sans serif. We're gonna try it for this project, and let me show you real quick a live version of this. So oh yeah, I should have said that. CMS stands for Content Management System. So this is like for example, a blog. A blog, it's made out of a CMS where every blog post has different elements inside that post. It has a title, it has some probably categories, probably has an image, probably has the actual content, who's the author. All of this information lives in a CMS. So we're going to learn how to use this type of information to create a site. And this is what we're going to be doing today. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Let me make the chat a little bit smaller here. Look at this. Look at that. So we're going to be creating like profile cards. So it's just profiles, and this information that is coming from here, this photos, like the names, all of this stuff is actually coming from a CMS. I edited it on like in a spreadsheet, then I imported it, and then I'm able to just like design with this. And so we're going to be creating these kind of cards. All of this is made on Webflow. And actually, if you want to see it live, I'm going to put it here. You can see it live right there. And it's cms-cards.webflow.io. And you can see this thing live, which is pretty cool. Okay, so, and over here, this is the design. This is how it's looking. Oh yeah, let me check. Let me show you how this is looking. See that delightful transition from black and white to color. Oh my God. Sorry about that. Let me close this. And yeah, let me close this too. And that's it. So let me go back to over here. So yeah, and And that's it. I think we should just get started, right? So the first thing we're going to do is, well, let's start with a new project. Let's create a collection and start adding fields to this collection, okay? So, okay, I'm going to go to my dashboard. I'm going to create a new project. Just going to go ahead and create a blank canvas project. And let's call this CMS cards sketched together. You know, you can call it whatever you want. Be creative with your name. You can change it anytime, which is pretty dope. I'm going to just make it's just even a little bit smaller, but I'm going to keep it here just so I can keep seeing. Oh, hold on. You're not seeing my screen. I am an idiot. Okay. There you go. I am very sorry. You are not seeing my screen for the last 5 minutes. Okay, well, I created a new project. I'm sorry. Anyway, I created a new project. Let me go to the dashboard so you can see where. All I did was go to the dashboard here on Webflow and I clicked on new project. And then here on new project, yes, I can see your screen. No worries. And then I just created a blank canvas. Okay, so okay, that's it. I'm sorry about that. Let me go to my dashboard. Hold on, you can see my screen now, right? Yeah, you can see my screen. Okay, so I created this project. It's blank. There's nothing here. And Matt Orwin is asking, do you not use a sketch anymore? No, I do not. I use InVision Studio. It's pretty cool. You should try it out. Okay, so here, let's just start by creating our collection. Okay, I know this part will feel, for you designers, will feel a little bit boring because you're creating input fields, but you're gonna love it later. Okay, yeah, I'm telling you, you're gonna love this. So to do this, we want to go to this on the tab, this CMS option, and then here we can create our first collection. So let's create a new collection. And then they even give you some templates that you can start with, like, for example, categories, authors, clients, which is pretty cool. Sometimes when you just want to play with stuff, you can just go ahead and select one of these templates. For example, if I were to authors, it just gives me some of the fields that I will need, like name, bio summary, picture. This is actually a pretty good template. I'm going to start with this template. I like it. I'm going to actually call it just people, people, and in the collection URL. And then I'm going to start editing some of the stuff I don't want it. So for example, this one, I'm going to remove this. But see, all these collection fields, they're already there because it's one of these templates. I clicked on one of these templates and then these collection fields were created for me. So picture is something good. I don't need an email. I'm going to remove the email. Twitter profile link, I like that one. I'm going to change this one and I'm going to call it portfolio link. And instead of... there you go. And then I'm going to start adding new fields. So for example, we need a field for occupation. So I'm going to add a new field. And then here, when you start adding fields, it gives you the option to what kind of field do you want to add. Is it a plain text, rich text? Is it a phone number? What this gives you is, if it is a phone number, when you're inputting, it will try to follow the format of a phone number. Also, if it is a URL, a link, then it will not accept it unless it's an actual URL. So it's very important for you to decide what type of field you want to use. For example, email too. It will have to have the format of an email, an at, and then whatever, com. So, and also color. We're not going to try this today, but I guarantee you this is pretty cool when you want to have a specific categories or different things to have a specific color. You can also do that, color. But for now, for this one, we just want it to be plain text, and it's going to be called occupation. And that's it. I could add some helper text. So if I were to add... put any type of occupation, for example. This is whenever you are filling this up. If you need any clarification, you can add a clarification here, and it appears below the label. any type of occupation. So there you go. And you can see a preview of this, like this form of the editor over here. Like you can see even here. And then it's a single line. You can say multiple line or single line. This one is going to be a single line. You can even put a maximum number of characters. This is sometimes good when you don't just want a summary, like a bio summary. You don't want it to be like a giant essay, you know? So you just like say, hey, 140 characters, that's it. You can do that too. And you can also say that, for example, this field is required. We need to fill this. If not, then this this profile doesn't work. Okay, this can. Okay, cool. So I'm going to actually. Yes. Okay, so this is looking good. What else are we missing? We have a picture, we have a bio, we have a name, we have a Twitter verb, occupation. Oh, well, let's add another one. Let's going to save this field. I'm going to add another one, and this one is going to be also plain text, and this is going to be place. And this is place, location. Where is this person from? So I'm going to put place, call location. Probably location will be better. Location, single line. I'm going to save the field. I think we're ready. Now, once you're here, you can actually change the order of these elements. This is like whenever you're filling it up. If you want some stuff to be up or down, you can just move these elements around. So for example, I want to put location after the name. So I can move these guys around. Occupation, I can put it here. Actually, I'm going to keep it on the bottom. There you go. So that's it. Now I'm ready to create my collection. I create my collection. And that's it. We have a collection. Now, something that is pretty cool is that they also allow you to add dummy data. So for example, here, if I want to add, just to start, like if I don't have information sometimes, like right now, I can add some 5 items, 10 items. So I can just start testing with like fake data, but that is coming from the CMS. So if you don't have the data yet, this is actually pretty useful because, like, for example, add 10 items. Let's add 10 items. And we'll just, Webflow has some, I don't know, dummy data somewhere in the cloud, and then they fill it up. So here, this is all dummy data. They just like fill up names. If we go here, you're going to see that, boom, I have a ton of, it even has images, it has links, it has occupation, like a text, all that stuff. So even location, this is just filling up information that is for you to start testing. I'm going to cancel. I actually don't want this. This is just for demo. If you ever need to do this, I'm actually going to select all of these guys. I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to delete them. I don't need them. Webflow is asking, are you sure? Are you sure? Because there's no Command D for this. Not that I know. So yeah, I delete that. And now I'm actually going to import my information. So for this, I actually put I put a form out there on my Facebook group for the form was like asking people, hey, put your own information so we can use it on our live stream. So this is a form that I sent. And then this form, people were actually filling it up. I was like, Pabs, for example, and hello, la la la. And then this gets saved. And then the cool thing is that I get to see the information and I can export this. This is from Google. This is a Google form, and anyone, if you have a Google account, you can create forms for free and then put them out there and send them. So this was easy for me, for just for people to fill up the form. Then I got a lot of responses, and then here on the responses, I'm able to see this as a spreadsheet. So as a spreadsheet here on Google Sheets, I have all the information here, and I can export it as a CSV. So I have everything. I have the pictures, I have the names, I have a portfolio link, social media link, location, occupation, all of this stuff coming from real people. Some of this stuff I actually fill it up because only like 5 people actually responded to the Google form. For those 5 people, thank you so much. But if you're going to do this, this is one way that you can do it too. There are more There are better ways to do this. We're not going to go into that. But if you want to do it a more manual way, if you want to do it quick, you can do it this way. And then you can download it as a CSV. Over here, comma separated values. You comma separate it and you can save it. I already saved this, so I'm going to close this. Just wanted to show you this is coming from real data. This is coming from a spreadsheet. I already have the same fields that I'm going to be using over there. I can close this. I can close this form. This is pretty useful. I'm going to say leave the site. And over here, I'm going to actually import it. So I'm going to, here on this button, import, you can drag a CSV file or you can just like import it. So I'm going to go ahead and I already have this, this file here. So this is a CSV file. As you can see, this is the same information. I'm going to open it. And then Webflow is detecting that the first, is asking me if the first row is a header. This is sometimes on every, like on a spreadsheet, you will have the first row to be a header. So it's asking me, is this a header? And it's giving me a preview of this. And it's actually timestamp full name. That is a header. So I'm going to say, yes, this is a header. If it is not, well, this just say, no, this is an item. I'm going to say, yes, this is a header. And then once it is that, then I can start importing, I can start matching those fields from the CSV file with the fields of the collection that I just made. So over here on the CSV file, there are names, but over here on my collection on Webflow, there are also a field that is called name. So now I have to create that match. So for example, here, full name, this is a preview of one. I can say, create a new field or map to an existing field. So I can say, hey, map to this existing field from the collection that we just created called name. There you go. Picture. I can say map to existing field, and I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a picture. So it's importing that picture. Look at that. How cool is this? It's already giving me a preview of how elements are going to look. A bit about you. This is going to be a bio. So I'm going to say map to existing field. I'm going to put it on bio. Portfolio link. I'm going to map to existing field. I'm going to say that this is the portfolio link. Social media link, I'm going to say map to existing field. Also, this is going to be Twitter profile link. Location, I'm going to say map to existing field. I'm going to say location. And so on. Occupation with occupation. There you go. Now we're starting to look over here on the right. We haven't imported everything. We haven't clicked here, but I can see a preview of all the information, how it's going to be imported. I can go over the different items. As you can see, I'm importing 23 items. So I'm here seeing displaying item 6 out of 23. How cool is this? It's already displaying this information. It's going to give me, it's giving me a preview of this. I'm going to say import. You do a little dance. Very important to do the dance. If not, Webflow, it will just crash. Okay, it's in the instructions. You gotta dance. Come on. Gotta dance faster. There you go. 22 of 22 items imported. How cool is that? Now let's actually see it. Let's close this. This is it. Now on my collection that is called people, I imported 22 items. All of these items are here. Right now, you can see the status of them, and right now they're staged for publish. These haven't been published to the actual site. We haven't done anything, actually. I don't dance enough when I'm working. Yes. And you can preview them here. So you can come here and actually edit them. If you need to edit anything, you can come here and actually go over these, and probably sometimes you need to come here, come back, and there's something wrong with a link. There's something wrong with the image. You want to replace it. You want to replace the name, all that stuff. You can come here and just do that. Again, we are in CMS, and inside CMS, we selected the people collection, and inside the people collection, we can select the items that we just created, and then we can edit them. How cool is this? Tell me, how cool is this? Okay, let's close this. We have our information. We have 22 people. Now, let's actually start designing this thing. And Waldo says that dancing is critical for your project success. It is true. Okay, so now the magic is where we're gonna see the magic. So before we actually start designing anything, I would recommend like probably do a wireframe, start like designing it and iterating on your favorite design tool. For this, I actually use Studio. So here I'm in Studio. I created some. I'm actually using something that I made some time ago, and that is called UI cards. And it's just like a simple library in Studio. And I actually, on the description, there's a link to this. If you want to download the Studio file, you can download it. And you can see it here. So we have one type of profile, another type that's a little bit simpler, one that has a big image in the background with just name and occupation. And then another one that is just, it doesn't have a background, it's just the image and then everything aligned to the left. Pretty simple stuff. Let's actually start designing it. If I need to come back, I can come back and just like see the stuff. But for now, let's actually jump back to Studio and to Webflow. And the first thing we want to add is on everything, we want to add a section. So let me actually make this a little bit. Can we make it even smaller? It's just, you need your canvas, every pixel counts. So let's go over here. I'm going to add a section. And inside my section, I'm going to add a div block. You can use a container or you can use the div block. I kind of like using a div block because it gives me more, kind of like more freedom on the stuff that I can make. So I'm going to add a div block. And now inside the div block, I'm going to add my collection list. So over here on the bottom, you're going to see this section for CMS. And it's a full section that only has one item because that's all you need, baby. Okay, you insert the collection and now you're starting to see how this is going to look. Over here, now this is just a preview. I haven't actually linked this to a collection, but I can go here and select what collection I want to be displayed here. I only have one collection, so I'm just going to select people and boom. It's already thinking, okay, all the information of all the people that I can start adding, but nothing is displayed. Why? Because we haven't added anything. We haven't actually linked components or elements to data in the collection. Let's start doing that. But before we do that, we want to select a layout. It gives you some defaults, like you can select like half and half, for example, thirds, fourths, and then this one is what, 6. So sometimes this is all you need. Just select one of these and then you're good to go. I like actually, let's keep this one. Let's keep the one for 4 right now. Later, we're going to do something different, but let's actually just keep this one and we're going to start adding elements here. So now inside the item, this is an item. There's nothing in it. There's nothing in it yet. If we click preview, there's nothing yet. Here's telling me there could be something. The possibilities of something being here are there. So now let's just start by adding a heading. So I'm going to start adding a heading. And since any element you add to a collection item, you can actually say link it to a piece of data in the collection because it's inside this collection list. So over here, if we go over here, you're going to see that this element, this heading, it's inside a collection item, which is inside a collection list. So now, because of that, I get to see this little guy that says, hey, where do you want to get this text from? I'm going to say that it's coming from this collection, and it's actually coming from the name field. And look at that. Now, is your mind starting to explode? Because mine really did explode when I saw this for the first time. So I'm going to keep it as an H1. Then I'm going to start adding more elements. For example, an image. An image will be good to just like an imagen. Yeah, and this is just for preview, okay? Let's add an image, and then I'm going to say that the image is going to be from this field that is called picture. And there you go. We start seeing the images here. It's probably not going to be the best. We probably want to have it as a background image so they all have the same height and width, but we're going to do that later. We don't have to worry about that right now. And then here we can actually start moving these items. Let's actually move it on top. I want the image to be on top and then the name. Let's add another item below this one. Let's add a text. a text block, and this text block will grab the text from location. Let's click on the location, and now it's starting. Look at that. How beautiful is this? When you're working with real data, it's so empowering. You see the possibilities of this, and you say, this gives me ideas. This was me. Like when I was seeing this, I was totally inspired, and I said, we can create a list of, hold on, where are we gonna get? I'm realizing that this should be a rich image link. So hold on, I made a mistake. So this one shouldn't be just a paragraph. It should be actually a rich text. So I'm going to delete this guy. And because my field is actually a rich text field, the one with the bio. So I'm going to say that this one is from bio. There you go. Now I get to see it. Because the other one, the field, the specific field was a rich text field. So I could only link it to a rich text field on my actual design. That's why I wasn't able to do it before. Okay, let's add another thing. Let's add another text block. And this one is going to be for occupation. What do you say, my friends? Occupation. There you go. And then let's add another one. This one, let's add a button. What do you see? What do you say? Let's add a button. And this button is going to, here you get, on the button, you get to choose two elements. You get to choose the text. Where is the text of the actual button coming from? This could be linked to the collection, and also the URL. The text, we don't want to. We want to have the same text for all of them, but the URL, we do want it to be different. So we want it to be, let's say, Twitter profile link, and let's say that it opens on a new tab. There you go. And then here, now on this one, I can actually change the text to say Twitter. The Twitters. This is a new site. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called the twitter.com. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we have it. Obviously, the design of this is, it's not great. Let's say that. But at least you're starting to see the data being displayed. Okay, cool. So look at that. It's working. Look at that. Everything is horribly. The layout is not that great, but we're starting to see the possibilities of this. Okay, so let's go back. Very important to do the dancing, man. Gotta celebrate. It's always important to celebrate small victories. This is a small victory. We're able to test our data. It's working. Now let's get to actually design this thing so it looks good and it doesn't look too crappy. The information is there. Now let's make some magic with it. The first thing is probably we want our container, which is well, we actually didn't. This container, the div block over here. Let's call it. What do you say if we call it content div? I don't know. Let's call it that, and let's actually make it that it has a max width of 960 pixels. There you go. And then let's say that the container of this, this content div. Well, the section. Let's call it section stuff. Let's call it, and then start actually make it a flex box, and then say that it centers. There you go. Now my div is being centered by the section, and then also I could have also aligned it with this thing. I could have also said, "Hey, center the element," but I think it's sometimes same thing can be achieved with different methods. This one is my favorite method, but you could have also done it that way. For example, here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Here, I could remove the flex layout. Let me actually remove this style. So it's aligned to the left, and I can go in content div and say, hey, make the margin on the left and on the right automatic, and that way it will center. I think this is cool, but I would say that this is a little bit old school. And now we have Flexbox, so we can actually just go to the section and actually make it display setting to be flex and align to the center. Same, you get the same results. It's all a matter of preference. I'm preferring Flexbox right now. Okay, cool. So let's start. Let's start like using this information. I want to, first of all, probably put all of these elements inside. Let's create a simple one. The simple one is just going to be here with the collection item. I'm going to start putting the images inside a div block. And this div block, you're seeing that some of the images are a little bit taller and a little bit, some of them are a little bit, well, not all of them are square, right? So look at this one. This one is a little bit taller too. So we want to all of them to have the same layout, because if not, look at this, it's going to be really hard to read, right? So let's go ahead, and here on my collection item, I'm going to add a div block. And I'm going to actually add a link block, because if I add a link block, I am able to add a link to it, so people can actually click on the image. So I'm going to add a link block, and then on this link block, I'm going to say that the background image, I'm going to go to the link block settings, and I'm going to say that the background image of it is going to be coming from people, and I'm going to say that it's coming from the picture field. There you go. We're starting to see that the picture field is already being taken. I'm also going to say that the link block, since this is a link block, I can select, I'm pretty sure, hold on, it is a link block, right? Yeah, and it's a link block. I can go here and select where is the URL coming from. And I can say the get the URL from people, and I'm going to say that it's also going to go to the portfolio and open a new tab. There you go. So now this div block is starting to get there. Another thing, I don't need this image anymore. This image, goodbye, my friend. And now this link block, I can make it 100% width. I can go here, 100% width, and I'm going to give it a height. Let's test 222 pixels. There you go. This is starting to look good. And before that, something else that I need to do, I'm going to go back to my collection list. Remember, we had this setting to be four columns. I actually prefer it to be full width. Once it's full width, then I have the possibility of controlling this element with its own width. So I can say, for example, this guy, I want it to be 25%. 25%. And now that it's 25%, it's looking like this. It's only going to take a fourth of my container. And I can go ahead and say that the collection list wrapper, a collection list, I'm going to say that this is a flexbox. So now that it's a flexbox, it's putting it in horizontal. And I'm going to say that it wraps the children. Wraps the children. There you go. Now it's wrapping, and it's only the child elements, which is every item. It's only taking 25% of the size of the actual container. And pretty cool, right? And I'm going to say that it aligns. By the way, I'm going to use this one. Well, I'm not going to use it for now. I'm going to use it later, but I want you to, when it's needed, I want you to see the difference, why this is going to be necessary later. Okay, so let's actually go back here to my collection item. Right now, it's at 25%. I could start adding some padding to it. One thing, and I don't know how else to do this, and I'm pretty sure it's not the best way to do this, and some of you are going to hate me for even doing this, but I'm going to actually go ahead and say that this is 24%. I know you're hating already this. By making it 24%, that way I can go back to my collection list, and I can go ahead and say that instead of aligning everything that justifying to the start, I'm going to say that it justifies space in between and also left and to the right. The element that is all the way to the right is going to justify to the right. The element that is all the way to the left is going to justify to the element to the left, and then what's in between is going to have some spacing. I do that, and now I have some padding in between the elements. I know this is hacky. If you know a better way to do this, because another way that I was doing it is by using padding, but then if you use padding, then you have a padding here. Anyway, you can tell me later, you can put in the comments, Pablo, you are the worst. You did it wrong. You suck. going to ban you. You can do all of that. So 24%. And then something else that I want to do is I'm going to go and this collection item, let me see if I can make it a flexbox too. I'm going to make it a flexbox. Oh my God, what is going on? I'm going to say that it's vertical. Now, there you go. Now that it's vertical, everything is it's aligning. I'm going to say that aligns to the left. So aligns. Now it's back to where it was. But the cool thing about making this a flexbox is that now I can go and select the button, and I can go ahead and select here on the margin, on the top margin. I can say that this is auto. Now that it's auto, it's always going to be on the bottom of the actual item, because it's that way it's just like listening to the height of all the cards in the row, and it's aligning its top margin. How cool is this? This is, I'm telling you, my friends, this is cool. Very cool. Okay, so now it's there. It's still not looking great, but we're gonna make it look amazing, my friends. So let's start by adding on H1. I think this shouldn't be an H1. Let's actually change it to an H2. H1 should be the actual name of the page. Let's change it to H2. Now that it's H2, I can start changing the size of this. I'm going to go all the way down to 28 or 24. Play around with it. You can play around with it, and actually you get to see, is this looking good? Is this not looking good? You get to feel it real time, live, while it's happening. How cool is that? Okay, let me pause for a moment and see what the comments are saying. You don't suck. I'll be doing it this way for now. Thanks. Like this too. I usually go with padding, but that's a nice flex feature to utilize. Oh, I haven't used. Oh yeah, top margin, my friends. This thing actually, I was doing it with, before I was actually doing it with this thing. I was doing it with absolute positioning and then putting it on the bottom, but it was, oh my God, it was too hacky because I had to put extra padding and all that stuff. And this thing just Flexbox automatically out of the Flexbox, it comes with this feature. So I think it's good to use. Okay. Cool. So let's go back and start styling this thing. I'm going to start styling this thing. I'm going to say that this one is going to be 12 pixels. It's just a small. And I'm going to also say that on the styling, I'm going to make it uppercase. Now it's uppercase. And then I'm going to say that the headings usually come with its own padding. I'm going to change that padding. Number one, I don't want it to have this margin. I'm going to say 0, and I'm going to add a little bit of padding, 4 pixels in the bottom. So this guy's going to have 4 pixels. This guy's going to be it's 12 pixels. Now I'm going to change the spacing in between to 0.5 because it's uppercase. You need a little bit of spacing, like on the, I don't know, kerning, the spacing in between the characters. It's not even kerning, it's like fake kerning. But so it's a little bit more readable. This is more of a label. It's not really that necessary. So that's where we're using uppercase. I wouldn't recommend doing uppercase on something you really want people to read, like a bio. It's going to be really hard to read if you make it uppercase. So don't do that. Nah, I'm not that mad. Come on. Okay, cool. Let's add a little bit of padding here to the collection item too, because it's looking not that great. And I'm going to change the name of this class, but we're going to be renaming our classes later because right now the cool thing is that as soon as you start adding a styling here on Webflow, it gives you a class name, and you will need to worry about this later. But it's good practice to actually come back and rename your classes, because if not, it's going to be crazy. So I'm going to rename the class, and I'm going to say, I'm actually going to name it quarter item. And this is like, because it takes a quarter of the page. That's why I'm calling it that. And I'm going to add a little bit of padding on the bottom. Let's add 16 pixels on the bottom. And now we have that padding in between the elements. Something cool too is we're seeing that this image is not looking that great, right? We're just only seeing just like a piece of like this part of profile. Not very attractive. Let's bring these people so they look as best as they can. So I'm selecting that link block from before. Remember this link block, we added a background image coming from the CMS. So we're coming this field, the picture field. Now we can style that thing. We didn't style it before. Right now it's just like using it as a background image, but there's no styling here. So we go here to the background, and then here on the background image, we click on that. And now we can start styling it. We can say, for example, if we want a tile, it's actually looking cool. I actually kind of liking the tile thing, but let's not do that. Let's actually select cover. Cover will select, will try to fill the whatever the size of the actual image, it will try to fill the container. So cover is really cool. Also, we want to position it in the center. Right now it's positioned to the top left corner. We want to position it in the center. We just select this little guy here. And now it centers the image in the container. How cool is that, my friends? It's really looking good, right? I'm really liking this. How easy it is. Now let's style our button. This is actually pretty fun because on buttons we get to add a little bit of delight in transitions and animations with some hover states. So, but let's start adding just a simple background. First of all, I want to change the text to be black, and I want to change the background of it to be white. Pow. It's looking okay, but not that great. Let's add a border to it. I'm going to add a border to it. It's already black. I'm liking it. How cool is this? It's simple, but it's cool. Now let's, I'm going to also, I don't need to edit this, but I do want the button to be 100% width. So what I can do, there are two ways that you can do this. One is, One is by making the actual item say that all the elements stretch, and now you see the actual button is stretching to the width of the container. That is one way to do it. I don't want to do that. I want everything to be aligned to the left. I want to make the button to be 100% width. This one is going to be 100% width. There you go. And now I want to make the actual button a flex box. By making it a flex box, I'm able to center the label of it. Cool. It's very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Look at that. Okay, it's looking good. And again, start styling as however you want. This is starting to look good. I think I'm liking it. You can go back and edit this stuff. We're going to do hover state. So this is pretty cool. Actually on anything, you can add hover states, you can add transitions, but I think on the button makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead, and here on the button, you're going to see this little guy here. It's kind of hidden, but you see it here. You press on it, and then you can select what is the different states you want to add. So I'm going to add a hover state. And on the hover state, you're going to see here on the class that is already telling you this, I'm going to make some changes. The first change that I want to do is make my background black. Pow, baby. And then I'm going to make my text white. Pow, baby. Okay, we're seeing all of these hover states already. And now we go back to none. And now we see it. Look at that. We have our hover state. Different states for the button. Looking good, but but we are designers and we need our animations. We need it to be smooth, not just like that. We want it to be a nice and easy transition. To do that, we can actually go and select it, and over here on my non-state, I can go all the way down here. I'm going to see this little guy that says transitions and transforms. So let's add a transition to two different things that changed. So let's add the first one that changed was the text color, right? Well, actually the background color. So let's say a background color, and then you can select how long do you want this to last. I'm going to make it 300 milliseconds. And then you can select the type of easing that you can use. They have a lot of templates here, and you can also create your own by selecting these little guys and then but I'm going to just keep the default one. This one is okay. I like it. So now, look at that. There is a transition on the background, but the text is changing like that, and we want that to be also a transition. So all we have to do is just add another transition, and then over here we say that on the text, where is it, typography, we want to change the font color to add a transition to that. We're going to make it the same duration as the other one, also the same ease, so it's already have that. I close this, and now look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's actually preview it. Let's this little eye that is always watching you. You can toggle the preview, and now you can start seeing your the stuff. Look at that. How cool is this? It's a very cool. Okay, cool. So we have our section. Let's add a little bit of padding to our section because it's looking too close to the edges. We don't want that. Let's add. I like white space. Are you like me? You just like wide. You're like 96 pixels here, 96 pixels here. A lot of white space. Usually, it's better to have enough white space than getting everything to just like. This is one thing about this thing that probably you won't like, is that when you don't have enough items, then this will happen. Remember that that flex layout that we use, where this one is justifies to the spaces in between, then this can happen. Which is, it looks like a downwards, I don't know, rock sign. Yeah, that's what it is. It was all part of a plan. But to avoid this kind of stuff, you actually want to also add limits on what your collection list displays. So right now it's displaying all the items because I'm not putting any limits. But I can actually add I can select my collection list, and I can go to the settings of it, and then here, number one, you can filter the type of people that appear. Well, not the type, more like for different things. So you can click here and say, hey, name equals this, and then it will only display the people that are displaying only the people that are called Mariana. You know, but on this one also you can also change the order. Right now, I think the default one is by alphabetical. Let's change, and I think it's location alphabetical. Let's change it to random order. I'm going to save it. There you go. Every time I publish this, every time I refresh the page, it will randomize the order, which is sometimes what you want. So I'm going to sort the order random, and then also I'm going to limit the amount of items. I'm going to limit it. You can limit it all the way to 100. I'm going to say that it limits to 8 items. So now I only see 2 rows. Cool, right? So this is really useful when you want to probably you want to sort them by the ones that have been created, updated, like the ones that were updated recently, and you only show the latest 8, or the latest published. You know, so sometimes that's really useful when you just want a row that is like the latest stuff. For this one, it's just random. It's okay. So okay. This is looking good, my friends. This is looking really cool. Let's actually publish this. What do you say? Let's publish it. And then I can share it with you. I'm going to share it here on as a link, and then you can criticize it and tell me, Pablo, this was bad. This was very bad. Or you can tell me, Pablo, I'm liking where you're going. I'm going to add a link here. What is the best way to come up with UI UX case study ideas? Thank you for the question, Ralph. We're not. Let's. If you have questions, let's try to keep the questions regarding CMS, regarding the tools that we're using, what we're doing here. That way, we keep ourselves in aligned. Okay. But probably that's a thing for another video. Look at this. So I added a link here. You can go ahead and test it. Look at this. It's looking good. Nelson is there. Oh yeah, boy. Let's refresh it. Right now, the randomize thing. Once it's published, it will randomize. I think it's every 12 hours. So if you didn't like that randomize, you can go ahead and publish it again. And now that it's published, I can refresh this, and now it has a different random order. So it won't randomize every time. This is because your information is cached. And looking fresh. Okay, cool. So something else. I'm pretty sure that this is not working responsive. So you're like, it is really tight. Let's actually change that. So over here, the cool thing about this is that we can go ahead and see how it's looking on different breakpoints. So we were designing on desktop, but we can go ahead and see how it's going to look on a tablet portrait. So I'm going to select this section and I'm going to add a little bit of padding. Once I'm here, I'm going to, by default it had 0, but I'm going to hit that from here, it's going to have a padding on the left and on the right. And now it's not all the way to the edges, right? You want a little bit of space, to let these people breathe. Okay, so this is looking good. I'm actually going to make them a little bit more square. So I'm going to change the height to be 180. Let's see, 180 is looking good. I'm liking it. This is looking good. This is already looking okay. Something that I'm realizing is that this thing is too close to this. So I'm going to go back to my desktop. And then from here, I'm going to this text block. I'm going to add a little bit of padding. Probably 8 pixels. There you go. Probably even 16 pixels, to be honest. 16 pixels. That way, it's not all the way clicking that thing. All right. Yes, this video is recorded, so you'll be able to watch it another time. And I know that for some people it's a little bit late, so it's okay. You can come back later and watch it at any time. You can pause it. You can put 1.5x. You can do all of that stuff, which is really fun sometimes. Just like go quick. Pablo, you're too slow. Okay, cool. So let's go here. Now here's starting to get too tight. So what we can do is actually change the percentage of this. Instead of 24%, let's change it to 49%. And again, it's kind of hacky, but it does the job. 49% and 49, baby. 49%, and now it's doing like half and half. And remember, I'm doing that 1% just so we have a little bit of padding here, and I'm not dealing with the padding. Okay, so now we have, look at this. I think it's looking cool because of the beautiful people that we have here. That's what's making it look cool. Once it's here, now it's starting to look too like landscape, the image, and I want it to be a little bit more square. So I can go ahead here and actually change the height to be a little bit taller. 240. This is looking good. Over here, it's looking good. Over here, it's looking good. Let's go back over here. Here, it's not looking that great. So we can go ahead and actually, this quarter item, I'm going to change the width to 100%. Where are my maracas? Another video I'm going to make about like how to play the maracas. It looks easy, but it has its science. It's something like, it has its science, everything. So whenever you see someone playing in a band and it's just like playing the pandero or playing the maracas, they're keeping the rhythm, like and they are the real stars, not just the person playing the guitar. All I'm trying to say is that everyone has a purpose. You too, in a team, might have you might be saying, I'm only the production artist, I'm only the person making the buttons, I'm only making the email marketing, and you sometimes might think that your job is not important. I'm here to tell you that you are important and everything you do is important, and you're playing in a band, and that band might break up without you, or at least lose its rhythm. That was my motivational speech of today. Okay, cool. So we have it. This is looking good, right? Look at this. Let's actually publish it so you can also test it. So you can use the same link and see it live, my friends. Okay, let's test it. Let's actually do this. Oh my God, 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 oh my God. Waldo looking good there. Look at that. How cool is this? Okay, let me put the link again so you can test it. Okay, another thing. So so that's it. This is starting to look good. Let's do another iteration of these cards. What do you say? This is one design, but you can design multiple iterations of the same collection, have multiple designs. For example, I'm going to actually duplicate this section. I'm going to duplicate this section, the whole section. I'm duplicating it. And then now that I'm over here, now I'm going to change this design. Right now, I like that it's quarter item, but I'm going to add a little div here. So let's actually go back to our design to see which one we're going to create. Let's create this one. What do you say? We're here on Studio. I designed this previously. I think it will be cool to create this one. The one that is like a big image. It has a little bit of shadow. Let me just turn off the, there you go. It has a little bit of shadow, has just a name and the occupation, and has a little gradient too. As you can see here, let me actually select this and select this. You see that we have the image and we also have a gradient. This gradient is to allow that the text is always visible. So we want to create that. Okay, let's go ahead and using the same collection items, we're going to create a different, totally different design. Oh my glob. Oh my glob. Okay, so let's just start doing this. How can we do this? How can we do this? Okay, let's actually, this is super cool because I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this guy over here. Then I'm going to say, which one is it? Oh yeah, occupation. I'm going to put the occupation over here. And then I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. This one is not changing because this is a totally different collection. So right now, the text is grabbing the style from links because the actual div block is an actual link. So we're going to change that in a minute. Don't worry about it. Okay, so over here, I'm going to go ahead and actually this link block, I'm going to duplicate this class. Right now, this class, if I make changes to this class, then we're going to see changes here too, and we don't want that. We actually want this to be its own class. Let me actually just change it. I'm changing stuff here. If I do change it, see how it changes also here? We don't want that. So we actually want over here, I'm going to duplicate the class, so it's a totally different thing. Duplicate the class, and I'm going to call it big picture card. So it's the whole div is going to be a card. Okay, we have it. It's ready, my friends. Now let's just start adding some of the stuff. First of all, we want to also add a different class for this. So I'm going to actually remove this. I'm going to also remove this, and I'm going to start playing around with this. So this one, first of all, I'm going to change the color to be white. Pow. I'm going to also change the color to be white here. Pow. I'm also going to remove the underline because this is coming, if you click here, it's telling you where it's coming from, and every link has an underline. So we could actually select that too. That will be actually pretty cool if, anyway, no, let's not do that. Let me just remove the underline here, remove the underline here. Yo, it's not removing the underline. What's going on? What's happening? Why is it not removing the underline? Okay. I don't want to get stuck on this. I'm doing something wrong. I'm actually going to go ahead and actually going to add a link here. I'm going to add a link. Okay, this link has an underline. I'm going to say that all links, just so I can change it. I'm going to change that all links. I don't want underlines on all links. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to say that no underlines, and over here, there you go, no underlines anymore. And I'm going to just remove this guy. We don't need it anymore. I just put it there. That way I could remove the underline because it wasn't working here. I don't know why. Okay, cool. So I'm already liking it, by the way. This is like very modern art type of card. But let's make it look more like our design. Something more, a little bit cleaner. Go to link block and remove the underline. Oh, you're right. Okay, so the problem was coming from the actual link block. So the actual big picture card. Okay, thank you, Nelson, Pixel Geek. Pixel Geek is always there to help us. He's our superhero. Okay, let's actually start. I'm going to start changing the size of this. I'm going to go ahead and make it 24. Also, this is going to be probably 28, the line height. I'm going to make this a little bit, I'm liking it. It's already good. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. This one, all your headings by default have some margins. So if you want to remove them, just say 0. And then over here, I'm going to say that it has, it could be 4 pixels. 4 pixels in the bottom. Well, if we need to change it, we can change it later. Okay, another thing that we want is add a little bit of padding inside it. So if we add a little bit of padding here, see how now it's not all the way like super close to the edge, because we added a padding to our cart, to the whole cart. And now we want to actually, I think we can move all our elements. We can make it, let's try this. I think we can do this. I'm going to make this a flex box. And I'm going to say that it's vertical. And I'm going to say that the elements align to the bottom. Oh my God. I love it when stuff works. When it just works and you are like, oh, probably I can do it this way. And then it works. It's so satisfying, right? So cool. Okay, cool. So this is probably looking too big. So let's go actually make it a 22 pixels. And this is 24. Let's keep it 14. If not, it's not going to be readable. Let's also make our cards a little bit taller. Right now it's at 220. We can make it a little bit taller. It's starting to look better, huh? 320. 320. No, 280. 280. 280 is good. It's a good balance, you know? Now we want to do something else. Number one is we want to add a little bit of a corner radius. Let's add a corner radius to this guy. So we want to go to the border, a border radius. That's what I meant. It's just that on the design tool, it's called corner radius, and over here it's called border radius. So sometimes it's confusing. Just like, come on, use a real whatever you want to use. Just like make it up. Okay, cool. So we have 4 pixels. You see? Can you see the little softer edge? Now let's make another. What can we do? How can we add a gradient? If we add a gradient to the whole card, it's not going to work. So we actually want to add another div. This is how I'm going to do it. I need to add a gradient on top of this. But if I do it to the whole card, if I want to add another gradient here, it will not allow me to do it, because if I add a gradient here, it's still taking the image. So even though it's a gradient, here's a gradient, but it's actually taking the image of the collection item. I wish it didn't. So Nelson and Waldo, if you're listening, it will be cool if the linear gradient, you could add it without being an image. So that's why I'm not going to use that. I'm going to have to add another div inside this. So I'm going to add this, I'm going to add another div here. And this div is going to have my gradient. I'm going to put it inside this. So right there you go. So we have this. And then inside this div, I'm going to put these this stuff. This stuff is inside that div. Inside the div. Inside that div. Inside that div. Yo, inside that div. So, okay, so we have that div, and now I'm realizing that probably all the padding should have been put inside this div, because this div should have 100% and 100% height and a height. So we actually, sorry guys, I'm going to go back, and something that I did wrong. I'm going to go back to this the big picture card, and I'm going to remove my this little guy. I'm going to remove this style. I'm going to remove this style. And I'm going to remove this style. Why? Because I want the div that is containing this little guy, I want it to be a gradient. This is how I'm doing it. Probably there's a better way, but this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to add a background gradient. Let's add it here. So now we have a linear gradient. Let's change it up. This one should also be black. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to also say that it's 0%. And there you go. This probably should be the other way around. So let's, how can we change it? Let me see if I can move it. There you go. There you go. Oh, I could have just clicked that. Okay, whatever. There you go. And now this should be, I want it to be the height of this guy. So what I can do is make it height 100%. There you go. Now it's 100%. I'm going to make it a flex box. And now that it's a flex box, I'm going to make it vertical. And I'm going to do the same thing that we were doing before. I'm going to align it to the bottom. And inside this guy, in here, I'm going to add the padding. Here's where I want the padding. 16, 16, 16. Sweet 16. There you go. And now on this one, this gradient is a little bit too much. So we can go back and edit it. So I'm going to say that this guy, I'm going to double click and let's make it a 50%. There you go. Are you liking this? Okay, cool. So it's starting to look good, right? Let's go back to our design and see what are the actual sizes of this thing, because we want it to be the actual size. This one is 22 and this one is 12. It's pretty small, pretty different, right? Let's just make it like our design. It's probably not very accessible, I will say that. And this one was what? 22? So 22 is actually good. And this one is 12. I'm not liking how small it is, but let's keep it at that. The designer decided to be 12. Let's keep it at 12. The designer was me. Okay, we have it. It's looking good. I'm going to actually remove this tile because already the line height is already pretty good. And I'm going to also something else. It's going to be even worse for accessibility. But I'm going to say that the opacity of this is going to be 80%. There you go. And I'm going to add a little bit of since it's so small, it's too dense. So I'm adding a little bit spacing in the characters, and that way it's a little more readable. It's starting to look good, my friends. It's starting to look good. Right now it's 100% the height. We could probably do okay with 60%. There you go. So now it's only 60%. We can still see some colors here. We can do it all the way to 50%. There you go. And it's still readable. This is good, actually. This is looking better. Better. This is looking better. Something else that I'm missing, if you notice here, we see that this corner is sharp. Now, over here is soft, and then here is sharp. That's because even the gradient div also need a corner radius. So let's add that corner radius. Let's add it over here. I only need it in the bottom. These guy, how can I do it only? So I'm going to 4 pixels here, and then over here, 4 pixels here. And now, there you go. Now you see that the difference in the bottom. Now it's not sharp. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of shadow because I think it has a shadow here too. Let's see what's going on here. Does this have a shadow? I'm pretty sure it has a shadow. Yeah, it has an elevation. And this elevation, it's, let me click it. And okay, it's 8 on the white and 16 on the blue. That's probably too soft. But let's see it. Let's see how it looks. I'm going to, over here on the styling of this, I'm going to add a shadow. I'm going to say that it's 180 degrees. That way it's on the bottom. I'm going to say that it's 8 pixels distance, 16 on the blur. And I'm going to change the opacity of it black. I'm going to keep it black. I'm going to say that it's 10%. Now it's really soft. It's probably too much. I would say that. It's too much. I'm going to 4 and 8. 4 is the distance and 8 pixels is the blurring. And it's looking good. That's good. Look at that, my friends. How pretty is that? How beautiful. Could you also do over, is this right? Yeah, I think you can do overflow hidden. Oh, I see what you're, I didn't need, hold on, let me remove this style. You're right. That way I don't need, hold on, over here, I'm going to say overflow hidden. Where's the overflow? Overflow hidden. There you, nope, didn't work. Let me do it here too. No, it's not working, my friends. I don't know why. I do not know why. Probably something that I'm doing wrong. But you can clone this and then correct me later, okay? I'm going to go back and actually this dip block, I'm going to add that for what the hell? Yeah, it's hold on. It's already there. Why is it I see what's going on. Apparently put it only in some of the corners, not in all the corners. I am a complete. There you go. That's what was going on. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes the cool thing is that you can go back and if you have changes to be made, you can change them. So I'm going to go back and actually remove this. This should work without this. Let's remove this tile. There you go. I don't need this anymore because the overflow is kidding. Thank you so much. Who was it? Stefan. Thank you so much, Stefan, for correcting me. You are a real hero right here. We saved ourselves a couple of lines of CSS right there. Okay, so this is looking so cool. It's so easy, right? Let's actually publish it so you can see it live too, and you can tear it apart. Something else, since we're using the same class over here, it's also taking the 50% and all that stuff that we did before. It's taking the same stuff. And look, it's actually the same size. This is so cool, right? Because I'm using that same class as this. The container is the same. So I don't have to do rework on the different breakpoints because it's already coming from the other class. Okay. Let's add come on, we need a hover state. We need something to make it look cool. And I have the perfect thing for you, my friends. So I'm going to actually change, and I'm going to add an effect to it, like filter to it. And this filter, you can go over here, all the way to the bottom, and here you have effects. So cool, right? And I'm going to add a filter, and in this filter, I'm going to say, look at that, blur. You can add color adjustments. I'm going to say that it goes to grayscale. So it looks classy. I'm going to keep the amount to 100%. And there you go. This is looking cool. But now we want a hover state. So I'm going to go over here to the states. I'm going to add hover. And I'm going to say on the hover state, I'm going to remove the grayscale from the amount to 100%. I'm going to say that it goes down to 0%. That way we see the colors on the hover state. So let's test it out. Let's preview it. Okay, I need to go back to my non-state, sorry. So if we preview it, look at that. Oh my God. Well, this guy is already, his photo is already in black and white, so we don't see a difference. But look at this. Oh my God, so pretty. We need a transition though, right? Because we need that delight. So we can go ahead and over here on the transitions, we can add a transition. I'm going to say that select instead of, we can go all the way here, filters, where's the filter, padding, advanced flex, no, advanced, wait, what? Filter, there you go, filter, and I'm going to say that it takes 300 milliseconds. Now let's make it 400 milliseconds so it's really smooth, real smooth. Let's preview it again. Oh, yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. So pretty. Okay, I'm going to publish it so you can see it again. You can preview it on your side. Let me put a link here. And there you go. Now we have our, we have our hover button here. Let's see if the links are working. The links are working. How cool is that? Let's see Daniel Noskin. Daniel, he's a PM in InVision. He's a really cool friend. He's really cool. You should check it out. You should follow him. Also Nelson. Nelson is a Pixel Geek. You should follow him too. He's super cool. And also Joshua, he's also works in at InVision. An amazing product designer, but also he does great animations. Look at all the stuff that he does. Like, okay, well, not that, but look at this. Okay, it's a little bit slow. But he's a great animator. You should follow all of these people that are here. And I think that's it for today. I think we got to learn how to use CMS. Once we're using CMS, how to style it and how to put these items into work and just like see or styling in real time, in live, just like seeing it live, how those changes are being affected. We were learning how to go from studio where we are iterating, we're putting together stuff. And once we're like, okay, this is looking good, then you jump to development and you start putting it together in something that is real. So I invite you to check out CMS, the CMS feature. It's really empowering because it feels like, I don't know, you're not working with dumb data, you know? Oh, last thing that I want to show you. This is really cool too. You can go and use this thing called editor. So let me show you this thing, what it is. The editor part, actually you jump into the page and you can edit the information right there. So for example, let's say that, I don't know, Nelsoncito, you can go ahead and right here on the page, change the information. How cool is that? How cool is that? Let's change from web designer. Let's call it super duper web designer. There you go. It didn't change here. Probably it needs to update. But this Nelsoncito should also appear here, but it's once it's published, probably right here. You cannot see it live. Daniel Nosking, Danny, let's say that UX designer, let's change her position to dope UX designer. There you go, my friends. And then also Joshua, I'm going to say there's like amazing product designer. And then Danielle is, I don't know, fabulous. Okay, I don't know how to write fabulous. This is wrong. Fabulous. I'm going to say fab product manager. There you go. And Waldo is the man. Hold on. The man. You can go here. This is a cool thing because you're seeing it here on the design. You're editing it. That's it. And then you publish your changes. You see all the things that you're going to be able to publish. I'm going to say, yes, publish all these changes. You do a little dance. Remember, the dance is very, very important. And now it changed. So now Nelsoncito. Let's see Nelsoncito. Is Nelsoncito somewhere here? Nelsoncito's not here. But Waldo, you see, now it's updated to the man. And that's it. So that's one way to edit it. Let me go back and actually because people change, things change, and you want to be able to come back and edit information. So you can come back and also on the collection, just click here. And if it's easier for you to just do it this way, you can go ahead and click here. And then over here, you start changing your information. The Twitter profile, change the image, or replace it with a different image, and all that stuff. Super cool stuff. So remember, I added links to all of this stuff. I don't know. I'm going to 5 more minutes before we end. If you have questions, please leave them here. I will. I have to say, it's a lot of fun to. Oh man, I'm like super greasy, huh? Usually we hear some people saying that the tool is not about the tool. The design is not about the tool, and it's great, and they're true. You shouldn't focus too much on the tools, and we give too much importance to the tools, and in a way, it's true. But I would say that also tools allow you to. We usually see tools as this inanimate thing that we use our creativity and we input it in it, and then it allows us to do stuff, right? But it's usually the creativity is not in the tool. It's just a, a blunt object that doesn't do anything by itself. Again, it's true, but at the same time, the tool allows you to do stuff that probably over here your imagination was just like not even thinking about something. For me, I wasn't even thinking about creating Latinx who design. I wasn't even thinking about that. But when I saw what this tool was able to do, was able for allowing me to do, then that the creativity came from there. The tool gave me an idea. The tool said, this is possible. All I'm trying to say is that tools can help you imagine things that are out there, they can empower you to create amazing stuff. So it's okay also to learn the tools and give them the importance that they deserve, because they can actually power your creativity. And this is what Webflow did with CMS for me. And I'm hoping that when you use tools, you use it that way. They empower you to create amazing stuff, and you can share it with the world, and you can make an impact out there. Whatever impact is, if it is helping other people, if it is helping yourself, helping your family, just like probably there's a switch in your head that makes you feel successful, and that sometimes can be just the craft of your work. Just like having those pixels to be the most beautiful pixels ever. And some of you might be about how you're helping other people do other stuff. It's the who, is the why, what that switch that turns you on. So use tools to allow you to get to that happy place. Happy place. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm becoming a philosopher over here. And yeah, let's do a dance. What do you say? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you also for the people at Webflow. They have been amazing at just like allowing me to learn stuff, allowing me to test stuff, and they've been really cool at helping me and support Waldo, Nelson, Anna, everyone in the team. They're really cool. I recommend you to give Webflow a try. Also, Studio, we have a Facebook group, and if you have any questions about Studio, we're still in beta, but I think it's pretty cool what we're doing, and I think you're gonna love what we're doing. So I invite you to give it a try, to test it out. Probably you tested out like 3 months ago, and then you're like, this is not for me. It wasn't ready. A lot has changed. A lot of stuff is really cool. The performance is great now. So I invite you to test it out. And we're working really hard on Studio. And we think it's an amazing tool that you're going to love. And in combination with this tool like Webflow, it's just like, they're going to be like superpowers. Okay? Okay, so let's end this with a little bit of music. Thank you so much for being here. Love you. Let me bring my maracas. Let me hear it too. Cumbia. Cumbia. Hold on. Let me show you. Look at this guy. It's a little frog.